Indiana Fever's president of basketball and business operations, Kelly Krauskopf, shared what Caitlin Clark's fans could expect to see from her and the rest of the team in the upcoming 2025 WNBA regular season. The Fever's official X account posted an image containing a quote from Krauskopf that was taken from her interview with Sportico. "You're going to see a very hungry group of players," Krauskopf said. "They're extremely competitive. They love the game. Season can't get here fast enough," the Fever's caption to the post read. Krauskopf previously worked for the Indiana Fever as its general manager from 2000 to 2018. Then she was the Indiana Pacers assistant general manager from 2018 to 2024, returning to the Fever following the 2024 season. The Pacers and the Fever are both owned by a group led by Herb Simon. The Fever reached the WNBA Finals 3 times under Krauskopf's leadership, winning the title in 2012. Following her return after last season, she named Amber Cox the Fever's new chief operations officer and general manager, and brought back Stephanie White to be the team's head coach. The franchise made several roster moves during the offseason to build around Caitlin Clark, filling the team with veterans full of experience and firepower. First, they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell, who formed a formidable tandem with the reigning Rookie of the Year last season. They also acquired 3-time WNBA champion Natasha Howard and 2-time champion DeWanna Bonner to reinforce their front court, and signed Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson, as well as Jaylen Brown and Brianna Turner, to retool their bench. The team shared their new members' jersey numbers in a post on X on Saturday. 5 of the WNBA's top 30 scorers last season were Indiana Fever players, including 2024 Rookie of the Year Caitlin Clark. In fact, Indiana had the most players on that list. On February 21, the Fever shared a graphic showing a list of the team's top 5 scorers last season. The list included the duo of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, who ranked 7th and 8th with an average of 19.2 points per game. They are followed by recently acquired veterans Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner, who ranked 13th and 22nd, respectively. 2023 first overall draft pick Aaliyah Boston completed the list at the 28th spot. The Fever reached the playoffs for the first time in 8 years last season under Clark, Mitchell, and Boston's leadership. With the latest additions to their rosters, many analysts have called them the favorite to win the championship next season. Dan has been active in sports since 2016 and has worked behind the scenes as a scriptwriter for basketball, volleyball, and other sports. At a time, Dan has also been working as a sports commentator for CBA Pilipinas. During the pandemic, he has also been actively writing betting articles for CashBet and BetNow. The Chicago Sky announced recently that the Sky's 2 home games against the Indiana Fever will now be played at the United Center in Chicago. In addition to the venue change, the game originally set for Saturday, July 26th, will now be played on Sunday, July 27th, with tip-off set for 2 p.m. CT. The game on Saturday, June 7th, will remain on its initial date and tip-off time of 7 p.m. CT. The pair of games will be the first ever WNBA games in United Center history. They will feature 2 highly anticipated matchups between the Sky and Fever, including Chicago's Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, Courtney Vandersloot, Ariel Atkins, and Indiana's Caitlin Clark, DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, and Kelsey Mitchell. Given the explosive growth in the WNBA, we now have a first-ever opportunity to invite more fans to experience this matchup at a larger venue of the United Center. Adam Fox, Sky president and CEO, said, "Chicago Sky fans have consistently shown up for the team and the city, and we want to reward their passion and dedication by bringing this excitement to an expanded capacity. We know Skytown will help us create a special environment at the United Center this summer. We want to thank the United Center and MPEA for their partnership to bring the WNBA to more fans, and Wintrust Arena for their continued support of the Sky. The games will be the first time in franchise history that the Sky will be bringing games to the United Center. With a capacity of over 20,000 for basketball, the United Center will give the Sky 2 opportunities to play in front of a franchise record-setting home crowd. The largest single-game attendance record in Sky history to date occurred on July 13, 2016, in front of 16,444 fans at Allstate Arena. We are incredibly excited to welcome the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever, 2 championship franchises, to the United Center this summer for its first-ever WNBA games. Joe Mira, United Center Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, said, It's an honor to showcase these elite athletes and highlight the impact of women's sports in an arena rich with iconic basketball moments. Tickets will go on sale on Tuesday, March 11th at 11 a.m. CT on Ticketmaster.com, Wintrust Arena Box Office, and United Center Box Office. Existing Sky Season ticket members will receive priority seating for the games and will have their seats relocated to in-kind seat locations at the United Center based on vantage points, rows, and other factors. Chicago will tip off the 2025 regular season on Saturday, May 17th against Indiana at Gainbridge Fieldhouse at 12 p.m. CT. The Sky will also play 3 preseason games in 2025, including 2 against Minnesota on May 6th and 10, and 1 against the Brazilian national team at LSU on May 7th. Follow Chicago Ski on all social media platforms and head to skywnba.com for the latest news, content, and ticket purchasing. The full 2025 Sky season schedule can be viewed here. Earn a basketball scholarship. Play in the WNBA. That was Caitlin Clark's dream as a kid. Safe to say, she's checked those boxes. But now, she carries a bigger responsibility fulfilling the dreams of the people of Indiana and bringing a WNBA championship back to the state. The Fever front office has been aggressive this offseason, making key moves to build a contender. Perhaps Indiana's beacon of hope had a role in shaping those decisions, too? Analyst Rachel Demita certainly hints at it on her YouTube channel. But what's her source? Kelly Krauskopf, the president of basketball and business operations for the Indiana Fever, herself. While she didn't drop specific names, she revealed plenty about who was part of the think tank. In her interview with Sportico, Krauskopf said, "I think it's smart business to inform some of your key players of some of the targets that we're looking at. It's not necessarily asking for their sign-off. It's more of a, let's talk about this together. We had great synergy with how we communicated and how we were able to have these conversations. And then we had eager players in our locker room now that wanted to be a part of recruiting, if you will, and talking to players to help bring them to Indianapolis. This all but confirms that certain players were pulling the strings, working alongside the front office to identify targets. And Rachel had a pretty good idea of exactly who they were. On her channel, Rachel says, "It seems like to me, I'm totally speculating here, but if you are reading between the lines, it seems like Caitlin Clark obviously had a big voice in which players they were bringing in. Aaliyah Boston had a big voice in what players they were bringing in, and Kelsey Mitchell also had that voice. Clark, Mitchell, and Boston firmly established themselves as the big 3 for the Indiana Fever last season. Their contributions helped the team reach its first playoffs since 2016. Kelsey and Clark formed one of the most dangerous backcourts, combining for 39 points a game. Aaliyah Boston's presence in the paint was just as crucial, grabbing 9 boards per game. It was clear that the team would be built around these 3, and it's no surprise they were involved in identifying the key players the Fever needed to become contenders. The Fever front office recognized the need to strengthen their defense on the wings and in the post, and they addressed that by acquiring DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard. Bonner, a 2-time champion, comes with a hunger to add 1 more. Natasha Howard, with 3 rings and a DPOY to her name, brings invaluable finals experience. These 2 veterans will certainly help the young players like Clark, Boston, and Hull grow even more. Those 2 weren't the only signings, though. The Fever also added Sydney Colson and Sophie Cunningham to strengthen their guard depth. New head coach Stephanie White was certainly delighted to get the signings over the line, saying, "We got to surround our big 3 with great veteran players that complement them, and I think we have done that. We were fortunate to do both, free agency and adding depth. It puts us in a position to compete."